Oldies greatest hits of all time. Oldies 99.9.
That is Lehigh Valley homegrown stuff. 1964. Taking the last exit to Brooklyn with Northampton's Pride and Joy of the 60s, the Scott Bedford 4. This is Rod Wolfe on Oldies 99.9, WODE, and our Hall of Fame reunion show. Before that, it was the King's Ransom, 1967, with Shame. And I promised you some of the great Lehigh Valley groups and some of the homegrown rock and roll of the 60s. A couple of interesting groups there. The Scott Bedford 4, as I said, were from Northampton. And the King's Ransom, they recorded for the Integra record label, which was from the Lehigh Valley, of course, and owned by some local radio people, including Tiger Joe McLean, one of the most popular disc jockeys of all time here in the Lehigh Valley. If we take you back to some of the history of the Hall of Fame show, one of the most popular shows was the night we got a whole gang of the local groups in the studio. We interviewed a lot of the lead singers about the history of the groups. People like Barry Wright from the Morticians and Andy Zachar. He was Andy Starr of the Casinos back in the 50s and early 60s. We had Kit Stewart of the Kit Kats. They were not from the Lehigh Valley, but one of the most popular regional groups of all time. Had Lou Resch of Scott Bedford, who I mentioned a couple of minutes ago. From the King's Ransom, we interviewed Bob Doherty. He was Doc, the lead singer of the King's Ransom. And we had Dale Schneck in. Dale at the time was with the Morning Call newspaper, but he was the manager of the Shillings back in the middle 1960s. It was just a great night. I've refrained thus far from name dropping on the Hall of Fame because I wanted the music to speak for itself tonight, because that's what the Hall of Fame was noted for. We just used to come in and crank it up, have a great time, and play song after song after song. But we're going to drop some names on you in the next 20 minutes or so as we salute some of the local groups. Now, I have edited some of the interviews we did back that night, and I picked out just 2 or 3 of them because these were some of the biggest regional hits of all time in the Lehigh Valley, and I'd like to play a couple of snippets of some of these interviews. One of the gentlemen we had in the studio with us that night was from Stroudsburg. His name was Bob Weidner, and he was the lead singer of a group called The Devils. And talk about a big, big regional hit. The Devils had one.
Memories are made of WAEB.
Time to welcome our first guest of the night. We've got Bob Weidner of the Devils in the studios. Bob, good evening to you.
Good evening.
Let's talk about a group from the Stroudsburg, Poconos area, the Devils. Take you back about, 20 years? Who were the members of the Devils, Bob?
There was myself and Ed Hill and Neil Leister and Bob McNulty.
And you played guitar in the group?
Right.
And also were the leader?
Yes.
Your record that you'll always be remembered for was a #1 record locally and from the spring of 1964, right?
Right.
There was great demand for that record, but what happened that some of the sales were not achieved?
Well, we had produced the record ourselves, and Capitol Records in Scranton did the pressing. And at the time that our second pressing was supposed to come out, they went on strike, so we weren't able to meet the demands of the Lehigh Valley. Gene Kay, who helped us a lot, hooked us up with some people at Cameo Records in Philadelphia, and we thought that if we inserted the names of some larger cities, it would give us more, expand our territory. So we went down and recorded about 9 different cities, I think. And when we got to do the show in Steel Pier that day, we had no idea which one they were going to play. And I remember my mother and a couple people telling me that our mouths would be singing, looking like we were singing one city, and a different city was coming out over the air.
It was one of the worst lip syncs I've ever
Really?
seen. You really had no idea they were going to play that version, right?
Right.
Also, rumor had it at the time that Cameo Parkway had Chubby Checker cut also a bunch of versions, and then I guess both yours and Chubby's got laid aside, and nothing really happened with any of them, right?
Yeah.
When you did Summertime at the Pier, the Beatles had been in the Atlantic City area, and you guys were on the boardwalk with your instruments and got chased by a bunch of girls. Is that true?
We had our, we were all dressed in dark suits at the time in our Beatle boots.
They thought you were the Beatles.
And a few ladies started chasing us up the street.
Those are things to remember.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what I remember. The Angels and the Devils at the Hub in Allentown, the YMYWCA.
That was one of the highlights of my career, I think. That same night, Gene Kay had brought us to Allentown, and we did 3 jobs in one night. I can't remember the other 2 places, but I think there were dances, and
Probably Notre Dame bandstand.
that
maybe
was one,
yeah.
I think. Yeah, we showed up, we set up all our equipment and played some songs, tore down, put our stuff in the cars, and raced to the next job, and ended with the what was it called? The hub.
The hub.
The Y.
Yeah, the YMYWCA. It was one of the biggest dances every weekend in Allentown. And I remember the night, the Angels and the Devils. It was a great night.
It was packed. It was,
yeah. Wall-to-wall kids.
Do the devil dance. Devil dance. Do the devil dance. Devil dance. If you want romance. Devil dance. Do the devil dance. Devil dance. If you don't know how to do it, we'll show you how to do the devil dance. Devil dance. Hey there, Scranton, what you gonna do?
Hey, they gonna do a little dance for you.
Yeah, but they can't dance.
Ah, the heck they can't. Watch 'em go, Daddy. Do the devil dance.
Devil dance,
Do the devil dance.
devil dance,
Woo! Shake your feet, honey.
devil dance,
Ah, get with the beat.
devil dance,
If you don't know how to do it, we'll show you how to do the devil dance.
devil dance.
And hey there, Stroudsburg, what are you going to do?
Hey, those chopper chicks are gonna do a dance for you.
Yeah, but they can't dance.
Ah, the heck they can't. Watch 'em go, Daddy.
Uh-oh.
Do the devil dance.
Devil dance,
Do the devil dance.
devil dance,
Ah, shake anything you want to, baby. Do the devil dance.
devil dance,
If you don't know how to do it, we'll show you how to do the devil dance. Here we go.
go, man.
Hey there, Allentown, what you gonna do?
Hey, they gonna do a little dance for you.
Yeah, but they can't dance.
Ah, the heck they can't. Watch 'em go, Daddy. Do the devil dance.
Devil dance,
Do the devil dance.
devil dance,
Woo! Shake your feet, honey.
devil dance,
Ah, get with the beat.
devil dance,
If you don't know how to do it, we'll show you how to do the devil dance.
devil dance.
Come on, come on.
On the Devlet record label. One of the biggest regional hits of all time in the Lehigh Valley. Those are the Devils and the Devil Dance.
WAEB.
Bob brought another record along, and basically this is what, the Devils with one different group member?
With a different bass player and a different drummer.
And who were they?
They were, Lou Titalius played bass, and Johnny Cassioli played drums.
And instead of the Devils, you called yourselves
The Bentleys.
the Bentleys. Here they are.
When I see you there beside him, holding hands and playing cool, I cannot decide which one of us has been the bigger fool. Oh no, oh no. You and I were so enchanted till at last it just became a love we took for granted. There is no one else to blame. Oh baby, where did we go wrong? We had a love so strong, and now it's gone, gone, gone. Now it's gone. As we pass each other on the street and look the other way, it's ridiculous to be like this. I have to stop and say, oh baby, where did we go wrong? We had a love so strong, and now it's gone, gone, gone. Now it's gone. Yeah, baby.
79 AEB Sunday Night Hall of Fame with our salute to local hits and regional groups, and Bob Weidner and the Devils, in that case, Bob Weidner and the Bentleys. Good record.
Thank you.
Hey, our salute to local groups continues in just a couple of minutes. We've got Agnew and the Night People here tonight.
Rod Wolfe's Hall of Fame.
Just like that.
You're listening to Rod Wolfe on the Lehigh Valley's original Sunday Night Hall of Fame.
WAEB.
The greatest hits of all time from the station that made them famous. WAEB.
Oldies 99.9. The Valley's greatest hits of all time.